back when I used to teach this for APS, I worked with TIG teaching Promethean stuff a long time ago. Back then, no one knew what the word annotation was, and I used to make a joke that it was just some crazy British word for writing on things because Promethean started in the UK. But now annotation is more popular thing, and that joke doesn't really hang anymore. But we're going to be talking about annotation tools today. I will quickly cover the pen. I will quickly cover the highlighter, the eraser. Desktop annotate is almost always a favorite with teachers. And then I will cover pen modifiers as long as there is time. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and get started with that. In your toolbox here, sometimes you may not see your toolbox because it can slide off to the side. There we go. Toolbox is slid off to the side like that. You can just come back over here, and there's a little thumbtack here to tack it into place. In your toolbox, your default is going to be this cursor. Right below that usually is a pen, and that is your pen tool. Excuse me. For those of you just coming in, I'm going to put a sign-in sheet for you, please, into the chat. All right. So the pen tool, if you are at the Promethean board and you have the actual pen tool, you can touch it to the board and write like it's any other board. If you're using a computer like I am, you touch and hold the mouse down and then you can write. You can choose any of the colors you have off to the side here to write on or write with. And then right here is these 4 dots. These are a little bit confusing because people think that this is the biggest it can go. These are just the 4 most common sizes you can write with. So it goes from like a little 2-point line, itty bitty teeny tiny line, to like this one is your normal default. This one's just a little bit bigger. And what does it say? If we hover over it, the tooltip usually lets us know 6-point font or 6-point. So it's a little bit bigger. And this one here is probably the 8. Come on. There it is. Yep, 8. So those are like the 4 most common sizes, 2, 4, 6, and 8. You can see there's a slider down here. Whenever I touch that, the slider moves the tiniest little bit. If you feel like you want bigger, you can click and hold that slider and slide it way up all the way to 100. And then you can write in this gigantic pen, which I think is too big and nobody can ever actually read it. So there's that. Down here at the bottom, this is the Windex tool. You can click on that and then we can click clear annotations. Boom, they're all gone. It goes back to where we were before. I'm going to go on to another page, going to a second page right here. That way we just have more room to write. Pen tool again. This one here is the highlighter tool. Highlighter does basically the same thing. You can change the color of the highlighter. It is, though, slightly transparent. So if I write a little bit with it here and then come back across it, it actually will layer up some. So you can see where it gets darker, where they layer against each other. If you click and hold this, you can go back and over it as much as you want, and it won't layer up as long as you're keeping that pen contacted to the board or your mouse button clicked down. Anytime it starts to overlap with other ones that didn't. So if I pick up my mouse and then put it back down, I get some overlap of that. That's your highlighter tool. The highlighter, same kind of things. You have 4 different sizes. They're a little bit bigger to start with than the pen. And again, these are just the 4 most common sizes. And then there's still the slider up if you need to highlight stuff that's really gigantic. Bam! Look at that. Some people still coming in. If you can, please sign in for me. The sign-in sheet is in the chat. All right, I'm gonna use that Windex tool again here, clear annotations to move on from there. So we talked about the pen, we talked about the highlighter. They do a lot of the same stuff. Highlighter works really well if you have text and you just want to highlight pieces of it. Another option, okay, so we have the eraser if you need to erase things. Click and hold and just drag it over, we'll erase. And a lot of the same options are available here too. The erasers are available in different sizes. which embarrassingly, it took a fifth grader to teach me that years ago, that he could change the size of the eraser. So I'll try and show you some of that. So here's the eraser tool right here, and you know, it's cleverly disguised as an eraser. Go figure. So you see a little itty bitty teeny tiny eraser. You're not going to get anything erased. It takes a lot of work, but I can erase some stuff. You see it erasing very slowly. All right, go up a little bit bigger. That's erasing more stuff. We can get just monstrous and then erase bigger things if we need to. So the eraser, you do have some options as far as sizes
And
of your
the
eraser.
lag, Seth, the lag is from
Yeah.
Google Meet, right? Not from the Promethean board. Probably.
Because I drew in a large pen, it may take a little bit of work to cause it to actually erase, especially if I'm using the smaller erasers.
Oh.
It takes a lot of work for it to actually erase when you're using a small eraser and a big pen. I did that on purpose to try and show you what that looked like. Big eraser, big pen, it erases right away. Yeah, it gets a little weird when you're trying to erase big things with small erasers. It works. It just takes a lot of work to get that down. There it goes. See, it's just slow. All right, how are we doing so far? Those are our main annotation tools: the pen, the highlighter, and the eraser. Any questions, any comments? Anybody need to see anything again? No, we're good. All right. I'm going to use my little Windex bottle again. I'm going to go to that Windex and clear annotations. As we go through some of these, I'll be doing some more of these in the next few weeks. I'll show you some of these other things we can do here, but clear annotations, get rid of anything written on the board. Now, depending on the version of Activinspire you have, this tool is going to look a little bit different. But right here is almost every teacher I've ever worked with, their favorite tool. Right now, it is a red circle with a pen on it. It used to be like a blue square with a red squiggle on it. And now it's that red circle. I don't know why they changed it, but it used to look more like this one, this little blue square with a red squiggle on it. Thank you, Marissa. So this is what's called desktop annotate. In Activinspire, if you just hover over stuff, the tooltip will always show up and show you what the name of the tool is. So if you get confused because it doesn't look the same, because again, yours might be a blue square with a red squiggle instead of a red circle with a white squiggle, you can just hover over it and find desktop annotate. But desktop annotate has been a favorite for most teachers. If we click that, it takes us back to our regular desktop. If you were then in a different web page, you can use all of your annotation tools that we already talked about into that web page. And I'm going to have to change my presentation so you can all see that. So give me just 1 second so you can see what happened when I push that button. I'm going to have to go out of window and change it to full screen. Sorry about the infinity loop. It's going to happen. At least it's not the infinity gauntlet, right? That would be a problem. All right, so come back. Let me find Activinspire again. There it is. All right, so now, again, when I push this button, you should be able to see it now. It goes to my regular homepage. Here, I can write on things if I need to. I can highlight if I needed to. That's a gigantic highlighter. All right, so say I wanted to highlight this, I can highlight right over that. Sometimes that works better. For some reason, it's showing up lately a little bit darker, but you can see, you can highlight there. Teachers like to take this into like some of their math, the online math tools. Excuse me, goodness. And using the pen tool here and some of your pen sizes, you can come in and use, you know, I've seen lots of teachers using this to work out math problems on the board, having students come up to the board and work out math problems, which honestly is the main point of the Promethean and Activinspire, is for students to get out of their seats and students to come to the board and for students to touch it. I promise you they're not going to break it unless you act like the Hulk in your class, which you probably don't. So, I mean, I used to punch the board when I used to teach this class and other classes. So clearly I don't have one behind me to punch today, but I used to punch it anyway. And everything still works the same here. So if I wrote something here, like, hey, everybody, I need you to, if I was in a computer class, I need everybody to click on that. I could still come in here and click on the erase tool and erase it as needed. I remember you can change the sizes too. Oh, that's another thing. This happens sometimes, and I just remembered. I wanted to switch my pen color, but I had been erasing. So when I clicked here on green, you see what happened to give me a green eraser. Clearly, I can't erase things and make them green, but it will change the color of that little eraser circle. So every now and then, when you go to change your annotation tool color, you may accidentally change your eraser color, which doesn't actually do anything except change the little circle. You can see the circle there on just changes that color. So make sure when you go to change your annotation tool color, you've actually selected the annotation tool from the toolbar. And then you can change it. This is great if you have like an online, reading passage. I used to have students come up to the board and let's say we circle or underline verbs in red, circle or underline nouns in green. I know these aren't nouns and verbs. Sorry, English teachers, I don't have anything available that would demonstrate that, but you know, adjectives in blue, things like that. So you can use the different colors and have the kids come up to the board. Even on an online document, you can have the kids come up to the board and use the different colors to demonstrate their knowledge of the parts of speech or parts of English. I'm not an English teacher. I was a computer teacher. All right, clearing annotations again. And this should work with the highlighter tool as well. For some reason, mine's showing up very dark today. You can still see a little bit through there where it says Mac deploy stick or videos. You can change the colors on those. So again, if it's working and you can see through it, you can do the same exact thing with an English lesson or a math lesson. Have students show their knowledge of all the different parts of things. I know those math teachers out there, you have different parts of a math equation, the addend and the dividends and all those math words that I don't really fully understand, but they're there. You can use those in your classes. The eraser tool should work here too. How are we feeling about desktop annotate? Are we okay?
How do you get out of it then?
How do you get out of it? It's the same exact button you click to get into it. That one right there. Click that again, you get back to your regular flip chart. And the cool thing that's happened now is now it has given you a desktop flip chart. It's labeled that right there, desktop flip chart. So you can see the different flip charts that I have open. This is one that I'm working on for the next few weeks. So this is the one I did for today, and then there's tomorrow or next week. Here's today's lesson, and here's the desktop flip chart. So that's how you can kind of flip between them, and it gives you that one there. The asterisk means that it's been modified and not saved yet. So that's a pretty nice little thing right there. All right. Excuse me, goodness. The last thing I wanted to kind of show you is the desktop, or I'm sorry, the annotation. No, that's not it. The pen modifiers. Pen modifiers. Let me clear off all my annotations again. And here in your toolbox, you should see some tools. It's usually a hammer and a wrench, and it's cleverly disguised as a hammer and wrench because that is where your tools go. You know, hammer and wrenches are tools, and tools are disguised as tools. It's clever. If we click on tools, and about halfway down, there's a thing called pen modifiers. The pen modifiers will only work if you have already selected an annotation tool. So I need to come in here first and click and select my pen tool. Make sure I have that selected. Go to tools and pen modifiers. Let me show you what happens if you don't do that. If I'm in my cursor tool and click on tools, pen modifiers, it's grayed out. It won't let me click it. So you ever find yourself in tools trying to get your pen modifiers out and nothing's working? It's probably because you didn't select an annotation tool. So I have my pen tool selected, tools, pen modifiers right there. And now I get this stack of shapes off here to the side. If I just want to draw a straight line, I can select that, click and hold. And if you notice, I could be having like a total aneurysm or something and still draw a straight line. If I wanted to draw a horizontal line, same thing. It will just draw the straight line for you. Excuse me. The diagonal line, if you click and hold, will let you just kind of draw it diagonally or any direction you want until you let go, and then it will draw it there. Excuse me. Clearly did not drink enough water this morning. The different sizes work here too. And all the different shapes over here as well. So if I choose a square, I click and hold and drag that out. There's a square. Now the thing you need to know about these annotation tools, or I'm sorry, these pen modifiers, is they are annotations, which means you still can erase them. So if you're wanting to build something where you have a bunch of words and you're thinking, oh, I want to just draw a straight line where the kids can write on, and then a kid comes up here and tries to write his name. Oh, oops, yeah, I still have to put modifiers on. Let's turn those off. Oh, to turn it off, it's been a while. You got to click on the cursor here and then back on the annotation tool. Let me erase this. All right, so if I had a pen modifier here and I wanted to write my name and I realized, oh, I spelled my name wrong and I go to erase it, you can likely erase part of that line. So the pen modifiers are erasable because they are annotations. It's kind of important to remember sometimes. I did that a few times. I'd write out a sentence for students to write a word on that I wanted to fill in, a fill in the blank kind of thing, and then they'd erase my line. That was always a problem. In a couple of weeks, we will go over pen tools. I'm sorry, shape tools, and I'll show you to do the same things with shapes instead of the pen modifiers. All right, tools, pen modifiers. Let's see what else there is. There is circles. There's like a curve. This one is a little strange, this arch. The arch I always feel is kind of counterintuitive. Maybe it's just me that is counterintuitive for, but if you want to draw an upward facing arch, you have to draw downwards. See how I draw up there and make that one an upside down U? These are some call outs. Start where you want it to be and then draw away from it. Again, changing colors, changing sizes, it's all possibilities. The zigzag clear tool. It's like the diagonal, but if you click it once, then you can start drawing another line. Click, 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 click. It's not a perfect square, but at least the sides are straight. And then if I wanted to be like, you know, Jackson Pollock or something and erase part of my shape there, there we go. How are we feeling about pen modifiers? Any questions?
So when you're in that, you can only draw the shapes, right? You can't write like with the regular pen. So it just draws any of those shapes on the side.
Yeah, just any shapes that you have selected on the side here. To get out of it, so it'll always draw these shapes. You have to use the cursor tool here and then go back to the pen tool to write something else. We have a couple extra minutes. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get this, so I didn't put it on the agenda for today. But another popular one here in tools is the handwriting recognition. So it'll give you a little tiny pen, and then you wait a second, and it'll type it for you. And then sometimes you have to wait. Oops. If you wait too long, it'll go away. So let me do that again. Tools, handwriting recognition. There's a little drop-down menu comes in right here. And these are all the possible things I could have been writing. So if you tried to write the word scene and it came up as Seth, don't freak out. Just hit the drop-down menu and click scene instead, and it will change it for you. Or maybe I was trying to write the word sloth because I am pretty lazy today. That's why I'm still at home when the rest of you are still at work already. Overachievers. Let me try something. Tools, handwriting recognition. You don't need to be in an annotation tool to start that. Notice I was in my cursor tool at the time and just went to tools, handwriting recognition, and that came up. It does require a pause. So if you're just writing and writing and writing and writing and writing and writing and writing, it won't go. But as soon as you do pause for a second, then it'll be there. The drop-down menu shows what we might have been trying to write. Sure, why not? All right, so there's that. How are we feeling about everything? We okay? See if I can get rid of that presentation. There we go. So that's pretty much all of the annotation tools, and we have 4 minutes to spare, so I can release you a couple minutes early. I just dropped a what is it called? A review sheet. Let me know how I did into the chat menu there. Training feedback form, that's what it's called, a feedback form. I'm still a little bit new to some of this stuff. This feedback form I'm putting in the chat, so if you can fill that out for me, and then go enjoy the rest of your day, that'd be amazing.
Can I ask you one last question?
Of course.
When it makes that desktop annotate flip chart, if you save that, does that just save all the screens you were writing on, like on a flip chart screen?
Yeah, it saves it as a clear. It's like from when I was a kid and teachers used the overheads, and it was a clear piece of plastic they put on a big light bulb to write on. The desktop annotate is like that. It's like a big clear sheet, and you can come back to it, and it does save it as a clear sheet, and you can use it on other stuff.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Yep.